Okay, waiting for all the streams to gin up. Also keeping an eye on some diagnostics here. This is not going to be a full episode of the Triangle Talk Show. At least I'm going to try to keep it from getting that big. Here's my diagnostics. Looking at how heavy a load Wirecast is putting on the computer, because I've had problems with that recently, and it doesn't look like it's doing too bad right now. So we'll put that away and get on with the business at hand. What happened to Triangle Talk Show episode 111? You can't handle the truth. Well, maybe that was the problem. Couldn't handle the truth. Well, as it turns out, a large part of that episode was made up of me and Jen and then Sarah looking at music of the pandemic. We looked at a playlist from newspaper out in Spokane, and then mostly we looked at some videos that were listed in an article in the Chicago Tribune, songs that were created specifically in reaction to the pandemic and the quarantine. And we played clips from a bunch of them, and the episode disappeared. Disappeared from Facebook first, and then it disappeared from YouTube. And for the most part, you couldn't see it. This is what I saw on my diagnostics page on YouTube. This would be the episode here. This weird disappears. You can't handle the truth. 111. It shows here is partially blocked in some countries or regions, and apparently this is one of those countries. If I look at my YouTube channel, I can see the episode down here. You can't handle the truth. Triangle Talk Show 111. I can see it, but you can't. And when I go looking at things as if you were there, as if I was you, why would I ever want to be you? As if I were you, by looking at my YouTube channel in an incognito browser, it's gone, missing. So see, this is what it looks like over here. To me, shows up to me. Over here on the right, does not show up to you. What else can I see about that? Don't need to have it play. So look at all this stuff. This is music that I may use in the program based on YouTube Music's attribution licenses. So, there's things like the intro music and stuff. You haven't heard most of it, but if I list it there, then I can play it without getting in trouble. Down here, here's music that, a music and video that appeared in the program that YouTube caught. So, bunch of it. And the problem was this one here, this Level of Concern by 21 Pilots, licensed by WMG, which I believe is a Warner Music Group. That's the problem. Those were the guys that said, but everybody else, everyone else you saw there said, let's just monetize. We're going to collect all the money that Gary would otherwise make from this episode in monetizing it on YouTube, which I don't. So, not a big deal. And I claim fair use on all of that stuff, and I could dispute every one of them and probably win and get the monetization taken off. But I figure, I'm using a bit of their video, or a bit of their music and their video. Why not just let them have the 1 cent that they might make from people watching a commercial before watching the show? And I'd never seen a commercial before the show. If I go secretly watching my shows with a incognito browser on YouTube, I never see a commercial. So I don't know if they're actually monetizing them or not. Don't know how they would be. Everybody else just claimed monetization. Warner Music Group for the 21 Pilots. Full takedown. Kaboom. Off the internet. Off of YouTube. Same thing on Facebook. Gone from Facebook. This is what things look like over on Facebook. This video is blocked and can't be viewed in 29 locations. No, 249 locations. I don't know what those locations are. I don't think it's like Raleigh and then Durham. I think it's countries, but or political entities of some kind that Facebook deals with. Anyway, we're gone from all of those. Interestingly enough, we appear to still be on YouTube. YouTube, no. Spit it out, Gary. Twitter. Here's our live on Twitter, but there's the episode 111 still playing on Twitter. And I played it in an incognito browser, and it's still there too, just in case it was secretly showing me things. So if you want to go watch the video, your only recourse is Twitter/Periscope, and then you can actually go see it. I have spent a good part of today going through the dispute process. I disputed the takedown on Facebook, and I disputed the takedown on YouTube. Facebook is giving Warner Media Group a week to respond, and a couple of those days have gone away. I didn't notice the YouTube takedown that happened 2 days ago. I didn't notice it until today. And so today I filed the response. And on YouTube, they have a generous 29 days to respond. Often when I file a dispute of a copyright infringement full takedown, the video pops right back up. It's visible for everybody to see during the dispute period. That's not the case with this one. It did not come back for everybody to see. So this is what I call a chilling effect of the takedown possibility on YouTube, particularly on YouTube, but I guess also on Facebook. I've been through this half a dozen times or so between the ham radio program and Triangle Talk Show. I use a little bit, not even a moderate amount, I would say a little bit of content on programs. Not every program, every few programs I'll use something. And again, most of the time these days on YouTube anyway, it gets monetized. And I just say, I'm not going to go through the trouble of disputing the monetization based on fair use, even though I think I could. Most of the time. There have definitely been times when I just gratuitously used somebody's program, music or content, and just said, let's take a look at this just for fun. And they caught it. It's algorithmic. Robots are scouring all the content that I put up and everybody else puts up and looking for stuff that matches something that somebody says, I own this, don't let anybody use it without me making some money off of it. So every once in a while I'll do that. And in those cases, it's, of course, you get to monetize. But sometimes I think it's fair use. Fair use is mostly when we're doing commentary, when we're saying something about it, we're reviewing it, we're discussing how this video or this music got used in some way and how it relates to our show or something we're talking about, some topic that we're talking about. So that's fair use, and that qualifies us to be able to use it under certain, probably specific conditions. And I think I got a pretty good handle on those. So anyway, I won't file the monetization fair use, even though I think I may qualify for it, just because it takes a long time. It's kind of a pain. And let them have the money. They're not going to get that much, and I'm not trying to make money from the show. The blockings, the takedowns, got to dispute those. So that's what I've done. If you If you're wondering what happened to episode 111, you can go watch it, apparently on Twitter, on Periscope. You can listen to it on the Triangle Talk Show podcast stream. Sooner or later, these content companies are going to find a way to get their hooks into independent podcast streams. Either going to the host, which in my case is Squarespace, and saying, that's copyrighted content. We insist that you take it down. They got those deals working with YouTube and Facebook now. They don't have it with the podcast streamers. Libsyn, Blueberry, in my case, Squarespace. They don't have those deals in place yet. They don't have the content management, the content matching. They can't tell when something's been used. But sooner or later, they're going to figure that out, and they're going to go after us there too. But for right now, anyway, they can't do it. So if you want to listen to the program in its full glory with all the music still available on the podcast stream, and you'll enjoy listening to me say things like, this is going to get us a takedown. Oh, this is going to get us a takedown for sure. Turns out it did. I really didn't expect a takedown. I expected monetization. Facebook doesn't do monetization. I can't monetize my videos on Facebook no matter what. And so the people that own the quote copyrighted material, they can't monetize it for themselves either. So takedown is kind of their only option. They go for that. The 5 or so content owners that just went for the monetization on YouTube didn't bother with Facebook. Didn't say anything about it. But Warner Music Group, WMG, I think that's Warner Music Group, they did. So there it goes. You know what? This is what the show looked like a little bit. You can see Jen in her fully repinked hair, and you can see me. And apparently the show has been seen by 7 people on Periscope and Twitter. Sure, let's make the sound happen.
The culture there. And the big problem is that consent as a social conversation has been about sex acts and has treated it as if it is a litigious thing. You know, I, Nanny Jen, do hereby consent to allowing you to kiss me on the lips a total of 3 times. No.
So if you missed that content, you definitely want to go listen to that. All right. Not trying to make a whole episode out of this. Just thought I would let you know what's happening. It bothers me a little bit. Something I feel like I need to address. Companies often feel the need to be aggressive in protecting their intellectual property because if they don't, if they let somebody get away with something, then eventually they lose the credibility to complain about it when they decide to complain about it. They lose the legal ability to actually enforce their copyright or their trademark or something if they don't pretty much vigorously go after it all the time. That's not what's happening here on YouTube. Well, in a way it is, but in a way it's not, because what's happening on YouTube and on Facebook is that they're just looking for a content match. They're the robots, the algorithms, the stuff that scours the uploads to say, does this look like something that's already been put up by somebody else, and they claim ownership. When they get that match, the monetization or the takedown is automatic. Their communication from, and in fact, I think it all happens within YouTube and Facebook. I don't think it goes out to the company at all. I think that they got the deal working inside YouTube to say, here's my content. You see anybody that matches this, I pre-authorize you to do a monetization in some cases or a takedown in other cases. And it just happens. They do, maybe they get a notice. I'm sure they get a notice. They probably get thousands a day because there's some folks out there that think they can use music, especially music, but other programming content, and they think they can do it because they give credit. Well, I gave them credit, so I can use it. Or because they're not monetizing. I'm not making any money, so I can use it. Those are not legitimate reasons for fair use. But those are reasons people give all the time. So they, they're scraping this stuff and they're just taking it down. They're getting lots of, if they're getting notices at all, they're getting lots of those notices for uses like that. And so they don't have anybody that sits there and says, or even a robot. I don't know if a robot can do this. I don't have anybody that sits there and says, well, on Gary's Triangle Talk Show, episode 111, he and Nanny Jen have a thoughtful discussion about music as it relates to the pandemic. And they used a short clip of some music that we own the copyright to. And they were talking about it and making some commentary. Now, it turns out it wasn't the deepest thought the world has ever seen in this commentary. They were treating it fairly lightly, talking a little bit about whether they liked it and what kind of genre it fit in, things like that. But it was commentary, and fair use doesn't get real specific about what kind of commentary they have to have. They're not looking for Einstein. They're not looking for Plato and Socrates. Jen and Gary qualify. They're not looking for Roger Ebert. May he rest in peace. Or Gene Siskel. May he also rest in peace. Jen and Gary qualify for being able to do a little bit of commentary. So we'll chalk it up to fair use. Be on your way. Have a good time. They don't do that. They just say, off, out of here. Well, send me the money. Show me the money. Or you're done. An opportunity for you're done. Get out of here. And then it's up to me to dispute it. The problem is, if they take the show off the air, it could be off the air for a week. It could be off the air for a month. And a program like ours, moderately timely, we're talking about the news as it occurred during the week. So, some of the content lasts a little bit longer than that, but a lot of it, by next week, it's old news and nobody cares anymore. It's one of the problems with a lot of the things that we talk about. By next week, it's old news and nobody cares anymore, even though whatever the problem was we were talking about, still very much going on. Anyway, as far as the YouTube is concerned, the Facebook is concerned, our program is gone for that period of time, and you don't get to see it. And then when it finally pops back up, when they say, oh, our mistake, excuse me. Now I owe a nickel to Steve Martin. Excuse us. It was fair use after all. We just hadn't noticed. Thank you for pointing it out. You may now resume your content on YouTube or Facebook. Nobody cares. It's old news. We're done. We've gone on to something else. And so have you. So, oh well. So that's the chilling effect he just remembered he was talking about, is that when we're making a program and we say, well, I would sure like to play a little bit of this music, a little bit of this program, but I'm afraid I might get a takedown. And then it's going to disappear for a week and no one's going to see it. Maybe I better not, even though I'm pretty sure that I qualify based on fair use. I'm pretty sure. But I know they don't look. I don't know. They don't evaluate. They just take it down and then I dispute and they put it back up, but it's too late. That is a chilling effect. And for the most part, I don't feel chilled. I don't feel worried about it too much because, well, after all, we're a podcast. You listen to us. And they can't get to that yet. But boy, they can get to the YouTube and the Facebook, and apparently, at least so far, not the Twitter and Periscope. So that is it for this, not an episode of The Triangle. Well, that was a pretty weak hit. Try that again. The Triangle Talk Show. Just me whining over and out.